Hey, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Greginator, YouTuber, creator, host with the most, misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable, independent podcaster, and of course, um, Queens, New York native, who is also a New York Mets fan. All right. And you are now rocking, listening, streaming, and watching the 74th episode of the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Um, the place where we talk about stories in football, stories in basketball, baseball, including the New York Mets and everything else in between. Um, and I do apologize for the long wait. I was trying to work on myself mentally and stuff, so I took some time off for myself. So I know y'all was wondering what's happening with me and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna get into deep on here too. So anyway, we are live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube. And of course, next to me is the Instagram live feed. Of course, be sure to follow follow the sports page of the podcast on Instagram as well. It's all these things will be in. I will add that to the description too, so don't worry. Um, yes, so there's a couple of things that I need to talk about here besides the trade topics and certain prospects who's hurt and injured and of course including Luis Severino being pushed to today's game, which starts at 7 p.m. on ESPN, which I have it on ESPN right now in the back of me. So I will touch on that as well. And of course, let's get to it though, man. I'm gonna have to cut to the chase. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, sports channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Share with your friends, like, and all that great stuff right there. And I got you covered with the sports topics and stuff. And I was going to include the Subway Series preview, but I'm waiting for more information to happen, so it's gonna have to wait till tomorrow. So, without further ado, um, how about we do this? Nah, hold on a minute. That's not what I meant. Yes, quick side bleacher bar, man. Let's go. Let's do this. All right, let's get to it right here. Let's get to it. I'm gonna do a little basketball news real quick, get that out the way, and yes, let's get to it. Let me pick up something. Hold on. All right. Okay. Starting with a little basketball news and stuff. Okay. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, wait. Um, One moment. Sorry about that. All right, so let's get to it. So, starting with an article from Go Prince Go Princeton Tigers website. All right, so let's see. Franklin C. Captain Edward C. Green, 40 head coach Mitch Henderson was named one of 20 finalists for the Hugh Duran National Coach of the Year Award. The award is presented annually to the top major head coach in college basketball. Also named 2024 Ivy League Coach of the Year, Henderson guided Princeton to an outright Ivy League title, a number 2 seed in the National Invitation Tournament, a 24 record, which includes a perfect 12 zip record at home and a victory over Big Ten opponent Rutgers. Currently ranked number 25 in the Rating Percentage Index, which is what RPI stands for. Princeton has received votes in the USA Today Coaches Poll for 13 weeks and the Associated Press Poll for 9 weeks in 2023 and 2024. Henderson's seventh season of at least 20 wins. According to ESPN.com analytics, the Tigers' strength of record ranks number 41 nationally. Before I continue on, in case you're wondering what that sound is, that's my air conditioner. It's been hot lately as far as like the heat wave and stuff. So that's why I have that on right now. So in case you're wondering, it's the air conditioner in my room. All right. Under Henderson's leadership, the Tigers became the first DI program in the last 15 years to start 5-0 with four true road wins. Princeton was also the only team in the nation to play and win each of its 7 games in a different venue. The Tigers have not the Tigers have been road warriors as their winning percentage on the road of 78.6%, ranked 7th in the nation. Princeton players have flourished under Henderson's guidance, with sophomore Caden Pierce named Ivy League Player of the Year, unanimous first team All Ivy, first team All District, and to the Lou Henson Award mid-season watch list. Pierce was joined as a unanimous first team All Ivy and first team All District selection by sophomore Xavier Lee, who was also named to the Luke Olson and Lou Henson Award mid-season watch list. Seeing Matt Alaco was tabbed second team All Ivy League, and senior Zach Martini, academic All Ivy League. The Hugh Duran Award is named in honor of the former Florida State, Georgia, and Jacksonville head coach. In 8 seasons at Jacksonville University, Duran became the Dolphins' all-time winningest Division one coach with 106 wins, making him the only coach in the NCAA history to be the winningest coach at 3 different Division One schools. He built national programs at Florida State, where he holds the record for best winning percentages with a 230-95, 708 record in 12 years. And at Georgia, where he is also the all-time winningest coach in the 99-year history of the Bulldog program, having won 297 games in 17 seasons. During coach Florida State and Georgia to a combined 8 NCAA tournament appearances and 2 Final Fours. He is one of 17 coaches to take multiple teams to the Final Four. Okay, that sounds like good news to me. Actually. Let's see. All right, let's make some noise for Mitch Henderson. Hold on a second. I want to make some noise. Hold on a minute. All right, up next we have this I think this wait, hold on, let me just get this. All right. So next we have Kristaps Porzingis. All right, so here we are. This is from um the AOL website. So Frank and Anti Antilikina will likely join several former Knicks down south. The French guard is poised to sign with the Dallas Mavericks, according to reporter Mark Stein on Substack, who said Jason Kidd's squad is eager to see if it can develop Anti Etilikina better than the Knicks did. With Antilikina, the Mavericks would feature 5 recent former Knicks on their roster, highlighted by Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Trey Burke are also returning, while Reggie Bullock was plucked this summer in free agency. Antilikina, age 23, was drafted 8th overall by Phil Jackson in 2017 and represented the longest tenured Knick before they relinquished his rights last month. He was a fan favorite, but his career filled with injuries, ugly offensive stats, and 4 coaches in 4 years never got off the ground. The Mavericks already carried a limit of 15 guaranteed contracts on their roster, but could easily waive Moses Brown or Terrell Terry to sign Antilikina. Beyond it being a low risk gamble for a team pushing toward contention, Antilikina Mavericks pairing makes sense. Porzingis played one and a half seasons with Antilikina in New York and was a fan, even joining a small group of players who unsuccessfully requested that the Frenchman be inserted into the starting lineup during his rookie season, according to his source. Jeff Hort Hornet Jeff Hornacek was the coach. More recently in 2019, Antilikina's arguably best NBA coach occurred against the Mavericks when he helped Luka Doncic and boosted New York to its biggest wins of an otherwise miserable season. The Mavericks have become a haven for European players, with Porzingis of Latvia, Luka Doncic of Slovenia, Maxi Kleber of Germany, and Boban Marjanovic of Serbia already on the roster. They also have a new coach, another former Knick, Jason Kidd, who is always keen on developing young guards. Dallas was rumored as a draft day destination for Canha, but the Knicks picked him one spot ahead of the Mavericks slot. Dallas instead chose Dennis Smith Jr., who was traded to the Knicks less than 2 years later in the deal for Porzingis. The Knicks never showed an interest in re-signing Canha, who was pulled from the rotation last season and then underwhelmed at the Olympics for France. In his final big moment for the Knicks, and probably the biggest moment of his Knicks career, Canha was inserted into Game 1 of the playoffs for defensive possession and gave up the winner to Trae Young. All right. Okay. Let's see. Carmelo Anthony, former basketball player who retired a while back. According to the Bleacher Report, Carmelo Anthony hasn't competed in a professional basketball game since April 2022. And that isn't down to a lack of outside interest. The 10-time NBA All-Star said on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn podcast, the New Orleans Pelicans had reached out to him and he received overtures from China. Anthony officially announced his retirement in May, calling it a career after 19 seasons. It looked like Melo's run in the association was coming to an abrupt end after his ill-fated 10-game spell with the Houston Rockets in 2018 and 19. Some even questioned whether he was being frozen out of the league. Anthony eventually signed with the Portland Trail Blazers early into the 2019 to no. You mean to 2019 to 20? I think they made that mistake. Typo. 2019 to 20 season and became an effective role player. Even during his final year with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2021 to 22, he averaged 13.3 points and shot 37.5% from beyond the arc. The timeline is unclear as to when the Pelicans made contact with the 39-year-old. Assuming it was before or during the 2022-23 season, let's see. 2022, wait a minute here. Yes, 2022-23 season, he would have provided some depth to a front court that ultimately features Zion Williams for just 29 games. Thanks to the emergence of Herbert Jones and Trey Murphy III as alternatives at the 4, New Orleans still notched 42 wins and qualified for the play-in tournament. Unlike some other legends, Anthony didn't receive a farewell tour in which fans and his peers could celebrate his on-court legacy. Based on the fact that the conversations with the Pels went nowhere, it sounds like it was something that wasn't on his radar anyway. So yeah. Former NBA player, now podcaster, You can check out his podcast, which is called 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. All right. On all streaming platforms, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. All right. Okay, let's see what else. What else we got going on with basketball news? Yes, Spencer Dinwiddie. Oh, excuse me, Dinwiddie, whatever that means. All right, Spencer Dinwiddie said there wasn't one single thing that was misrepresented or mischaracterized about his exit from the Nets. It was everything. Dinwiddie said. Dinwiddie, excuse me. Repeating it. Damn it. Hold on a second here, folks. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Yeah. Yeah, everything Dinwiddie said, repeating it for emphasis, every single thing, everything. The prodigal son returned to Brooklyn on Easter Sunday. Dinwiddie logging 21 scoreless minutes in his first in his first tilt against the Nets since they dealt him to Toronto at the trade deadline. He promptly got bought out and signed by his hometown Lakers, who helped to win a 116. Hang on a minute. Yes, 116 to 104 win at the Barclays Center. Dinwiddie's exit wasn't the prettiest, his effort being questioned by many. In the spirit of the holidays, the guard initially demurred when asked about facing his former team, something he's usually reveled in over his career. Of course, it's Easter Sunday, and my mom told me to stand down. I have absolutely zero comment at the moment, Dinwiddie said. Dinwiddie smiled before proceeding to comment. When asked specifically to clear up any misconceptions about his final days in Brooklyn, he simply said he grasped how the business works, that his voice got obscured during his Nets exit, but now he's happy as a Laker. I know the media obviously have a job to do, and I know that people say what they say from other places, whether it be organization, other positions, or whatever. So sometimes, obviously, as a player, things get mischaracterized or your voice get drowned out. Dinwiddie said, "That's just kind of the situation I ended up in. It was fun guarding primary people while I was here, and it's fun guarding primary people now. I understand that my 2024 has been largely about playing defense, and on this team, it's been something that's been celebrated and appreciated." After being dealt to Toronto, Dinwiddie got waived on February 8th and inked with the Lakers 4 days later. And while he's coming off the bench and still off the ball, as to catch and shoot, at least now it's spacing the floor for LeBron James and Anthony Davis aiming for a ring. Here's obviously the two guys to be watching are LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So that's a completely different type of situation, said Dinwiddie. And they were already a good team before I got here. But to play purposeful basketball, though, is a phenomenal experience to be a part of. You definitely don't want to be just kind of flailing in the wind. Cam Thomas had 30 points and 6 assists, both team highs. He joined James Harden, 2021-22, Stephon Marbury in the 2000s to 2001, and John Williamson, 1977 to 78, as the only Nets with two 30-point games versus the Lakers in a season. Of course, Trenton Watford, 15 points, 8 boards, cracked double figures in the season, high fourth straight game. All right. All right, let's see who we got on the agenda today before I forget. Yes. On to some breaking news in baseball, man, regarding Brooks Raley. Regarding Brooks Raley. Hang on a second. Let me make sure. Yes, so unfortunately for Brooks Raley, according to the New York Post, the Mets are worried that Brooks Raley will be lost for a significant period of time, perhaps the season. Carlos Mendoza said before the Mets Thursday matinee victory over the Cubs that Raley, who was placed on the injured list April 21st with left elbow inflammation, was not healing as quick as we thought it was going to be, and thus would not be activated when eligible in the next few days, as was initially hoped. Instead, multiple sources said that after an encouraging first MRI, further testing was cloudier on what exactly Raley is dealing with as he continued to manage his discomfort. He has at least a fraying of a ligament in the elbow, sources said, and both the reliever and the Mets were in the midst of gathering more information. Wow. That's a scary injury to have, man. And unfortunately for Brooks Raley, he's going to be out for the whole season, unfortunately. And there's more information about that I'll get to next. I'll get to that next, and then I'll talk about the Luis Severino situation. So stay tuned for that. Let's see. Nah, this is some scary stuff, man. This is some scary shit. That's some scary shit, though. Yeah, that's very scary right there. So, President of Baseball Operations David Stern said via a text response that he was not yet in position to confirm additional information on Raley and that further opinions were being sought. Raley was not seen by reporters in the clubhouse before or after Thursday's game. Let's see. Hold on. His agent Keith Grunwald did not respond to a text. Raley, according to the sources, is trying to determine if he can rehab and avoid surgery, but if he does, just what risk of a complete blowout would he incur? Raley, hang on a second here. Yeah, Raley, also, yeah, Raley And all of this is being weighed by what Raley considers the bigger picture of his career. Sheesh. He turns 37 next month, and so there will be questions at this late stage of his career whether to just go for it and try to rehab, then undergo a surgical procedure. Raley is making $6.5 million in 2024, the final year of his contract. The veteran lefty was off to a terrific start with 7 shutout innings and a .95 batting average against in 8 appearances before being shut down. His absence leaves Jake Diekman, who sucks, as the Mets' only established lefty reliever. The Mets also have used Tyler J, Josh Walker, and Danny Young as lefties out of the pen, and it is possible if he were not needed in the rotation upon his return from hip surgery that David Peterson could be used out of the pen. Peterson is on a rehab assignment and eligible to return. I don't know if he's going to be able to return on May 27th. We're in June right now, so more bad news about that too. Actually, so more bad news. Actually, so here it is. This is from the people from Yard Barker. Mets reliever Brooks Raley is facing a possible long-term absence after testing revealed at least fraying in the elbow ligament, reports Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Sherman writes that Raley and the team are currently weighing whether he'll need to undergo surgery. Raley landed on the 15-day injured list, with what the team called elbow inflammation 2 weeks ago. Manager Carlos Mendoza was initially optimistic that the left-hander would return around the time he was first eligible. Subsequent imaging has evidently revealed the tissue to be more serious than the team first believed. Mendoza told reporters Thursday afternoon that Raley's recovery timeline was being pushed back, albeit without providing much in the way of specifics. Acquired from the Rays over the 2022 to 23 off season, Raley has been a quality bullpen piece. In Queens, he turned in a 2.80 ERA over a career-high 54 2/3 innings last season. He punched out more than a quarter of opposing hitters and found success against batters of either handedness. The Mets fielded some trade interest on Raley last summer, but elected to hold him and trigger a $6.5 million option for this season. The first 3 weeks could hardly have gone much better. Raley rattled off 7 scoreless innings with 9 strikeouts and only 5 base runners allowed, including 2 hits and 3 walks. He was credited with 4 holds in 8 appearances and was among the club's highest average arms. Depending on the results of upcoming testing, he could be out for an extended stretch, perhaps the entire season. That will leave the Mets rather short on experienced left-handed bullpen depth. Free agent pickup Jake Diekman, who sucks, is their top healthy option. The veteran has huge swing and miss ability, though his results have been somewhat inconsistent throughout his career thanks to well below average control. Josh Walker and Tyler J have seen limited action while recent call-up Danny Young made his team debut in this afternoon's win. Walker was recently optioned to AAA Syracuse, while Jay was outrighted off the 40-man roster and is back in the minors as well. Death starter Joey Lucchesi has fared better against left-handed hitters and could theoretically work out of the bullpen. I don't know if that's probably not gonna happen. The same is true of David Peterson once he returns from hip surgery, which he did. That will shelve him at least into late May. Um, Peterson's overall platoon splits are neutral, but his strikeouts and walk rates have been much better against southpaws. Still, this looks like an area the Mets could look to upgrade from outside the organization if Raley misses a significant amount of time. A long-term absence would be particularly unfortunate for Raley as well. He turns 36 next month and will be a free agent next winter. With a 2.58 ERA and 27.3% strikeout rate since the start of 2022, he has a good chance at a solid 2-year deal if he's fully healthy. It's too soon to tell. His market might be affected by this injury, but any kind of surgery, particularly if he's out into 2025, would be a tough blow. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's really tough right there. And speaking of tough, man, I want to get into another breaking news involving Luis Severino. Now, in case anybody didn't hear, um, according to the Sports Illustrated, here's what's going on with Luis Severino. New York Mets pitcher Luis Severino spent the first 8 seasons of his MLB career with the other New York team, and the June 25-26 Subway Series matchup at Citifield gave him an opportunity to face the Yankees. Alas, manager Carlos Mendoza revealed that wouldn't be the case. Mendoza told Severino on Thursday night that rather than being matched up against former teammate Garrett Cole during Tuesday's game, Severino would instead be pitching on a regular rest against the Chicago Cubs on Sunday, which is happening today. Severino, who has posted a four-win, 2-loss record with a 3.52 ERA in his first season with the Mets, admitted some sadness when asked about this change of plans by the New York Post. He says, in quote, "A little bit disappointed," Severino said before the Mets beat the Cubs on Friday, "but I will get another chance in the Subway Series after the All-Star break, and hopefully I will use everything in my power to make that happen." The Yankees and Mets are slated to play against on July 23rd to the 24th in Yankee Stadium. Mendoza explained that his decision to start Severino on Sunday instead of against the Yankees was matchup based. He wanted to pitch a right-hander against the Cubs, and lefty David Peterson, who is going to be starting on Tuesday against the Yankees on Tuesday. Another southpaw, Sean Manaea, which I will talk about deep in the next episode, is scheduled to start on Wednesday. I told them I would do anything they needed me to do, Severino said of the Mets coaching staff, but that was going to be fine. Going out there and pitching against the Yankees. After agreeing to a 1-year, $13 million deal with the Mets on November 29th, Severino penned a heartfelt goodbye note to his former franchise via his Instagram. "From the time I put on that special uniform and completed the journey of making my MLB debut in 2015, the Yankees organization in the city of New York welcomed my family and me into their hearts, for which we are forever grateful," Severino wrote. "Together, we have all shared amazing memories that I will always cherish, and it has truly been an honor and a privilege to have played for one of the greatest organizations in the world." Severino's first start against the Yankees would surely be emotional regardless of when it arrives. Wow. Yeah, like I said, man, in case you're wondering about the Mets and the Chicago Cubs, it starts at 7 o'clock p.m. on ESPN. So you don't want to miss that. I will catch up to it after this recording, so don't worry about that. So yes, so 7 o'clock, Mets versus Cubs, ESPN. Check your local listings. All right. All right. So now that I got that Luis Severino breaking news out the way, let's talk some trades. Max Scherzer. Let's talk some trades. All right. So, damn it. Here's what we have. So obviously, the Mets previously played the Texas Rangers. They took 2 out of 3, by the way. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So Chris Young's tenure as general manager of the Texas Rangers can be defined by one quote continuously used by the former big league pitcher. You can never have too much starting pitching. After an all-season frenzy in which the club acquired 3 veteran starters, the Rangers struck again when they acquired 3-time Cy Young winner Max Scherzer, former Met, and cash considerations from the Mets in exchange for prospect Luisangel Acuna on Sunday, 2 days ahead of the trade deadline. Probably gonna. So the trade details. Acuna was the Rangers' number 3 prospect and now ranks number 2 for the Mets per MLB Pipeline, number 44 overall. He is the younger brother of Braves superstar Ronald Acuna Jr., who is out for the whole season with a torn ACL. A torn ACL. That's crazy, man. Damn. That's a serious injury right there. Man. That's a serious injury right there. Oops. Sorry. That's not what I meant. All right, before I continue on with the next topic or whatever, let me give a shout out of to the creators of one of the Sonic games. I think it's Sonic CD. I believe the creators and are the ones that made the music and stuff like that. So shouts to the people in the Sonic community who made the game Sonic CD over the years and stuff. So shouts to you. I'm giving credit while it's due. So you know what I'm saying? I don't know any of the names, but I'm just shouts to the creators of Sonic CD for that music right there and the sound effects and stuff. So there you have it right there, man. All right, let me continue where I left off here. Yeah. The 39-year-old Scherzer, who's close to 40, who waived his no trade clause, is in his final guaranteed year of the 2-year, $86.67 million deal. He had a 2024 player option for $43.33 million, but a source told MLB.com's Mark Feinstein that the right-hander has exercised that option. Earlier on Saturday, reports suggested the option had been a sticking point as the deal neared completion. The Mets are paying all but $22.5 million of the salary as a part of the deal. A source told Feinstein, meaning New York will cover a total of $35 million through the end of 2024. 5 takeaways from the Scherzer trade. Of course, Scherzer will join the club of Arlington on Monday, which he's already there, and I think he's dealing with an injury, of course. And is tentatively scheduled to make his debut on Thursday against the White Sox. Well, yeah. So this is a little recap actually of one of the trades. So Max's pedigree is of a future Hall of Fame pitcher. Young said, "The winner that he is a perfect fit for what we need right now. I've always said that you can never have enough starting pitching, and to add somebody of Max's caliber is just a great addition to, to our club. We landed the player that we felt like is going to help us get where we want to go this year." The Rangers are essentially replacing one former Mets ace with another as Jacob deGrom. The $185 million prize of Texas active season underwent season-ending elbow surgery in June. Scherzer had one of his best starts of the season on Friday night, holding the Nats to 1 run over 7 innings with 7 strikeouts. But he has been uneven for most of the year, posting a 4.01 ERA with 121 strikeouts over 107 2/3 innings. He has been specific. He has been especially susceptible to the long ball, allowing a career high 1.9 home runs per 9 innings. All right. Trade deadline tracker, even with the uncharacteristic struggles for Scherzer, he is an upgrade in the Rangers rotation. Nathan Eovaldi has thrived in DeGrom's absence with a 2.69 ERA in 19 starts this season, but he landed on the 15-day injured list on Sunday with a right forearm strain. Dane Dunning, 3.28 ERA, and John Gray, 3.66, have been serviceable behind him. But both Andrew Haney and Martin Perez have ERAs well over 4.50 at the back end of the rotation. The rotation enters Sunday with a 3.88 ERA tied for fifth in MLB, but the group has struggled to a 4.60 ERA since June 1st. In Scherzer, the Rangers are acquiring one of the greatest pitchers in Major League history, a famously fierce competitor with extensive October experience. He owns a 3.58 ERA with 164 strikeouts over 133, one third innings in the postseason, including posting a 2.40 ERA in the 2019 playoffs when he helped lead the Nats to a World Series. Of course, trade deadline insiders was next after Scherzer deal. So the 8-time All-Star has thrown 2 no-hitters and ranked 12th on the all-time strikeouts list with 3,314 punch-outs over his 16-year career. He is one of the 6 players to win Cy Youngs in both leagues, with the Tigers in 2013 and the Nats in 2016 and 17. Scherzer's pitching coach for both of those Cy Young seasons in Washington was current Rangers pitching coach Mike Maddox. Scherzer made headlines after Friday's game when he told reporters he wanted to have a conversation with the front office about the direction the Mets would take following Thursday's trade of the closer David Peterson, who is also signed with the Rangers as well, to the Marlins for a pair of prospects. Young said discussions about Scherzer began before he spoke to the media on Friday. Texas entered Sunday in first place in AL West, 1 game above the Astros as the club attempts to reach the postseason for the first time since 2016. The Mets sit at 50-55. This is a recap from a year ago, actually, so that's why I stuck with this. We're pumped about it. Rangers manager Bruce Bochy said, "We're getting an experienced guy with a tremendous resume. We're very excited to have Max join us. I think that message is sent from up above, ownership and the front office. What a great job CY did. We mean business, and we're here to win." Okay, so and speaking of trading David Robertson, and that's the next trade we're going to talk about here. So, okay, so the Mets are trading closer David Robertson to the Marlins in exchange for 2 rookie league players, Marco Vargas, who I think is on the injured list at the moment, which I'll get to next, and catcher Ronald Hernandez. The team announced Friday. Here's what you need to know. Robertson has a 2.05 ERA and 14 saves and 44 innings pitched. Robertson had roughly $3.5 million left on his 1-year contract with the Mets, though the team didn't cover any money in the deal, per a league source. The Mets sit 4th in the National League East with a 48 54 record. The Marlins are 3rd in the division at 55 and 48. So why the Mets dealt Robertson, you ask? And what's been an incredibly disappointing season for New York, the team with the best sports' highest payroll of all time, became a seller at the trade deadline, facing long odds at making an impossible playoff push. It only made sense to deal closer Robertson, an impending free agent. The veteran was everything the Mets could have hoped for, plus a lot more. Since signing with New York over the winter, a couple of key things changed for Robertson. He expected to be a setup option, yet became the closer. He anticipated staying with the Mets for the entirety of the playoff run, yet because the team struggles, he became an obvious trade candidate. Damn. The thing that's remained the same for Robertson, no matter the role or situation, the 38-year-old excelled. He's been so consistently good that evaluators pegged him as the market's top reliever. He has the versatility of pitching as a closer or before the 9th inning, plus carries neutral splits. Okay. Assessing the Mets' returns. So for a team operating on parallel timelines, winning as soon as 2024, but also building a sustainable farm system, it was going to be interesting to see how the Mets prioritize prospect returns at this trade deadline. Would they value pieces closer to making a major league impact, or play a longer game with more risk and viability, and developmental outcomes. The first two data points here suggest a longer lens. The Mets are getting back two teenagers who are years away from making the big league. At the same time, Vargas has opened eyes as an 18-year-old playing in Florida in the Florida Complex League with nearly twice as many walks as strikeouts and consistent hard contact as a lefty swinging infielder. He's not a top 100 prospect. He has a chance of becoming one of the near future. Hernandez, age 19, is a switch-hitting catcher, posting big numbers, repeating at the complex league. Oh man. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me see here. I want to make sure that. Let me see. Hang on a second here. All right. Let's see. Let's see what else we got to talk about here. Tommy Pham. Remember him? The one that was talking mad shit. First, let's get to this, man, because in their latest trade deadline move, the Mets have dealt outfielder Tommy Pham to the Diamondbacks per SNY's Andy Martino. In return, the Mets are getting 17-year-old shortstop Jeremy Rodriguez, according to Joel Sherman. Just yesterday, the Mets traded fellow outfielder Mark Canha to the Brewers, who's now with the Houston Astros. Considering Pham's very good production this year while playing on a 1-year, $6 million contract, this might be the least surprising move the Mets have made this season. In 264 plate appearances, the 35-year-old right-handed hitter has put up a 268, 348, 472 line with 10 home runs, a 127 WRC plus, and 1.7 FWAR. When the Mets signed him, it wasn't entirely clear how much playing time he would get. But when Starling Marte faltered and Canha took a step back, Pham took full advantage of the playing time. His WRC plus this season is the best single season. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. One second, folks. Sorry about that, folks. I had to restart my Instagram live feed. Let me do a little recap of what we was talking about. We talked about some basketball news involving some basketball players, including the retirement of Carmelo Anthony, and of course, we just finished talking about some breaking news in Brooks Raley and Luis Severino starting in today's game with the Chicago Cubs instead of the Tuesday game of the Yankees and the Mets at Citifield Subway Series, and all that great stuff right there. And right now we're just talking about some trades. We talked about Max Scherzer. We are talking about we just talked about David Robertson, and of course right now we're talking about Tommy Pham's trade. So here we are. Here we are. Yeah, so let me see. Yes, so yes, his WRC plus this season is his best single season mark since 2019. Considering how great Corbin Carroll has been for Arizona, Pham figures to take playing time from Jake McCarthy, who has been starting for the Diamondbacks in right field, but has just an 85 WRC plus on the season. By the way, just found out that he is with the Chicago White Sox. Ain't that something? Let's take a look at this, man. Let's take a look because I just found out in one of the games I was watching that Tommy Pham got traded to the Chicago White Sox. So let's see. Tommy Pham traded to the Chicago White Sox. Wow. 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 That's crazy, man. Wow. Didn't see that coming. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. So when did he arrive? Hold on. He wait, yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. No. That's interesting. Um that's interesting. When did he arrive? Wait, yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting. So this took place in mid-April. Okay. So he inked the deal with the White Sox in mid-April. Okay, so through his first 42 games with the league worst club, he owns a 268, 337, 390 slash line with four with 4 homers, 14 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. Yes, so despite the late start, the 36-year-old has been one of the few bright spots for Chicago this season. He owns a 268, 337, 390 slash line with 4 homers, 14 RBIs, and 4 stolen bases. Despite the late, yeah, I mean, yeah, despite the late start, the 36-year-old had been one of the Chicago. He ranks second among White Sox players with at least 150 plate appearances and OPS 747 and leads in on base percentage. Yes, so before he got traded to the White Sox, he did help the Arizona Diamondbacks reach the playoffs, or the playoffs, and I believe the World Series. Let's see. Let's see. That's crazy though. However, Pham generated most of that production over his first 31 games and has been um, mirrored in a 7 for 40 slump with only 1 homer since the beginning of June. Damn. Yeah, I'm not even gonna really get into all this, but I'm not gonna get into deep with the whole thing. So let's see. Well, we need to. All right, let's get into. Hang on a minute here. Let's get into. Come on. Let me see. Let's see. All right. All right. Let's see what else we got on the agenda to talk about. Let me see. Um, yeah. Oh yeah. Wait a second. I was going to talk about Marco Vargas and his injury. Let me see. Let me see. Hang on a second here. Yeah, so let's talk Dominic Leone. All right, so the Los Angeles Angels capped a busy trade deadline on Tuesday by acquiring reliever Dominic Leone from the New York Mets for a minor league shortstop Jeremiah Jackson. Leone, age 31, was one and three with a 4.40 ERA in 31 games with the Mets. The right-hander is 22 to 23 with a 3.75 ERA for uh, his career, which began in 2014 with Seattle. Jackson, age 23, was hitting 248 with 15 homers, 56 RBIs, 21 stolen bases for Double A Rocket City. He was a second round draft pick by Los Angeles in 2018. The Angels also received cash from the Mets in the deal. Also on Tuesday, the Angels sent left-hander Tucker Davidson to the Kansas City Royals for cash. Davidson had a 6.54 ERA with two saves in 18 games with uh, Los Angeles before being designated for assignment on Thursday. Los Angeles required slugger C.J. Cron and an outfielder Randall Grichuk in a trade with the Colorado Rockies on Sunday after getting pitchers Lucas Giolito and Ronaldo Lopez from the Chicago White Sox. The Angels are making a push. Yeah, they're making a push to end their MLB worst streaks of 7 consecutive losing seasons and 8 straight non-playoff seasons. They also have re- acquired veteran infielder Mike Moustakas and Eduardo Escobar since late June. We all appreciate the faith and trust in us to get the job done, Angels manager Phil Nevin said before Tuesday night's game in Atlanta. All right, so Dominic Leone and who? Dominic Leone, actually, yeah. Like I said, Mark Canha actually got traded to not only the Brewers, but he's also with the. Hold on. He's also with the Houston Astros, which I actually found out, which is crazy. That's interesting. Um, a little side note about Marcos Vargas. I believe. Wait a second here. Hang on a second here, because I read somewhere that he's injured. Let me see something here. Hold on a second here. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Marco Vargas. Injury. Let's see. Well, let me see. Damn. Damn, that's crazy though. All right, so a little update on Marco Vargas, man. So, one of the prospects and stuff. So single A on St. Lucie placed Marco Vargas on a 7-day injured list Tuesday with an unspecified injury. Durability is becoming a growing concern for the 19-year-old shortstop, who is on the IL for the third time this season. Vargas is slashing 239, 384, 286, 284. 284 with 6 stolen bases, over 86 plate appearances across 18 games with St. Lucie. So, yeah, this is tough. This is a tough spot for him actually. Tough spot to actually start your career. Hold on a sec. Hang on 1 second. Hang on. Now, as far as the timeline goes, not sure exactly. Okay. Timeline. 2024. Okay, let's take a look at the timeline. Oh boy. Yeah, I think he's out for. Yeah, I think he's out for the year, man. Yeah, he's out for the year, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Yeah, he might be out for this. He might be out for the year. Um all right, so let's take a look at the statistics here. All right, let me try to look at this right here, try to break this down. So Marco Vargas, St. Lucie in Florida. Stats includes level. Wait, wait a second. Wait. You know what? You know what though? Maybe a more of a breakdown, man. I'm not really good with the numbers and stuff, so let's see. Let's see. So let's see. Um, registered batting at. Let's see. 53. 221, 18, 6, 125, 557. This guy's pretty good. Let's take a look at the teams he played for. He played, let's see. I don't know. What are the teams he played for? Hold up. Hang on a second, man. Let me take a look at this. I'm not really good with the stats, but anyway, so like I said, man, he is going to be out for the whole year. They're not sure what type of injury it is, so I can't really get into all this right there. So, what else do we know? What else can we know? Can we learn about Marco Vargas? Right, like I said, he was into the trade, and let's get into some rankings. Let's get into some rankings, man. Let me see. So yeah. All right, so let's break down. So scouting grades: hit 60, power 40, run 45, arm 50, field 50, overall 50. Vargas signed with the Marlins for only 17,500 out of Mexico in May 2022, and instantly became one of Miami's best lower level hitters, producing a 319, 423, 456 line over 53 games in the Dominican Summer League that helped become a league all-star. Vargas kept producing stateside during his time in the Florida Complex League and joined the Mets in the David Robertson trade at the trade deadline. New York got the infielder time with single A St. Lucie before the year was out. And he finished 2023 with a 275, 432, 389 line with 2 homers, 53 walks, and 38 strikeouts over 54 games. The 6-foot left-handed slugger was the only minor leaguer age 18 or younger who walked more than he struck out over 250 plate appearances or more. Emphasizing how strong his approach and plate discipline were compared to his peers. If anything, Vargas may not have swung enough on pitches in the zone, leaving some potential hits on the table in favor of those walks. While his power value comes more in the gaps, he makes that profile work by distributing the ball almost evenly to the pull side center and opposite way. Vargas will swipe some bags with his fringy speed, but that's not more out of savvy than wheels. Both the Mets and Marlins have moved him around the dirt with time at the short and third base, but he's best fit for second where his actions and arm strength are a solid fit. He projects as a high OBP type who can play up the middle while adding strength to his profile, would make him an even more complete offensive threat. Let's look at what's OBP. Hold on. Let's look up what OBP stands for. Let me see. What does OBP mean in baseball? Let's take a look. For those of you who may not know what that is, I will break it down, actually. I'll break it down. So OBP in baseball, OBP stands for on base percentage, which is a statistic A statistic that measures how often a batter reaches base per plate appearance. It's been an official Major League Baseball statistic since 1984. Wow. Okay. All right. Um, like I said, all right. Let's take a look at Luisangel Acuna. All right. Sky report grades: hit 55, power 45, run 60, arm 55, field 60, overall 55. Signed by the Rangers for $425,000 out of Venezuela in July 2018. The younger brother of reigning NL MVP Ronald Acuna Jr., injured his, who tore his um, ACL and is going to be out for the season, began to put himself on the national radar in 2022 when he reached Double A at 20 years old and was a standout in that year's Arizona Fall League. He moved back to Frisco last season and was slashing 315, 377, 453 with 7 homers and 42 steals in 84 games when the Mets traded Max Scherzer to Texas and sent along money to acquire a prospect of Acuna's caliber. The infielder saw his numbers drop significantly after the trade, specifically his slugging percentage, which sat at just 304 over 37 games. Batting from the right side, Acuna has a stance eerily similar to his brothers, but at 5'8", he lacks the size of or subsequent strength to match his siblings' power output. He does have solid bat to ball skills and plate coverage. However, and that sometimes comes to his detriment. In other words, he's not a power hitter like his brother. While he keeps the strikeouts in check, 18.6% last year, he can expand the zone in search of contact, leading to weaker ground balls. The other way that keeps him from playing into his average raw pop. A more selective air base approach could help get him to 20 homers in time, but since he's on the 40-man roster now, time is certainly ticking on that clock. Acuna has the speed to beat out some of those ground balls, and he's stolen at least 40 bags in 3 straight seasons. He has the arm and range to be a solid shortstop, but the looming shadow of Francisco Lindor caused the Mets to give him more post-trade looks at second base. He should be even better there, and with his wheels, he could even get looks in center field in his first taste of AAA. So, I actually was listening to, and shouts to Ryan Finkelstein from Locked On Mets podcast, man. When he talked about Luisangel Acuna, who actually, at first he was struggling. He was struggling. Now, I think now from what he was explaining, he might be doing a little better given some time. I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready to be up in the big leagues like the big leagues, like the major leagues and stuff like that. So that remains to be seen. So we have to wait and see what's going on first and stuff. Now I did hear that Brett Beatty's trying out second base, and now that he's in AAA, hitting homers and stuff like that. But we'll see what happens, man. I'm not sure. I'm not sure Brett Beatty at second base is going to be a guarantee with Mark Vientos already taking over third base. Um, so, and by the way, Mark Vientos he's a well established third base. Well, he not only can play third base, he also can play first base like Pete Alonso does. So, and yes, he has been helping out with the Mets winning streak, which was 7 wins so far, and now I don't think anything could stop him. So he's earned that spot at third base, man. So congratulations to Mark Vientos. All right. Let's see what else we got to talk about in the agenda of this episode before I forget and wrap up here. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up right here, man. I want to get to watching the game, which is on ESPN. In case you guys didn't know, there is a baseball game with the Mets versus the Cubs that's going on ESPN right now. I am going to be watching it. So as we wrap up here, I will actually give you some other platforms of New York Mets fans that have podcasts, cover pregame, postgame shows, and all that other stuff whatsoever in a sec. So let me see. Hold on. Let me see this. Let me see this though, man. Hold on. And hold on. Shouts to what's his name? Shouts to what is it? Beefer? Yeah, shouts to Beefer, man. What's going on? How are you? Anyway, man, I'm about to wrap up right now, man. So I'm about to wrap up right now. So let me just get to the thing. By the way, let me know in the comments how you feel about Luis Severino being pushed to today's game with the Cubs instead of doing the Subway Series opener. How do you feel about that? I'm gonna actually put that in the community tab so you folks out there can actually check it out and stuff. So you can put your comments there and all that other stuff. I will put that in there after I get off the air. So after we get off the air. So right here, we're gonna get into stream choices on the go, man. Let's get into it right here, right now. All right. Make sure you follow the Sports Edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast on Threads, and alongside with Instagram, along with myself, that's also on Threads as well, and other podcast shows, which includes my review show, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, Off the Meat Red Cheese New York Avenue podcast, my comedy show right there. I'm slowly getting back to it. And also you can also follow me at G Money Stacks 555 on the gram. G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York is the username. So there you have it right there. And if you go to the link in bio, you're gonna see a whole list of stream platforms where you can listen, stream, and watch these episodes whatsoever. So here we are. Let's get into where you can listen. So, all right. So we are on Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, newly added Fountain FM, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overhaul FM Podcast, Player FM Podcast, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podhound, Podopolo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snip, Spotify for podcasters, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to music, radio, and podcast shows for free. You don't need a debit card or credit card to download iHeartRadio. Make sure you subscribe on every streaming platform that I just mentioned, including iHeartRadio, and also you can also subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Grab that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page, on the YouTube Sports Channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, and also some suggestions for people who are Mets fans that have podcast shows. They run post game shows and all that other stuff. Before I even get into my particular podcast sports channel, right here, you can subscribe to Ryan Finkelstein's Locked On Mets podcast. And also you can also subscribe to CP. Shout out to CP, man. You can subscribe to his YouTube channel page. CP's hang on, I'm about to pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up right now on the YouTube channel page real quick. Let me pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up right now, actually, so I don't forget. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Let me pull it up. Hold on a minute here. Yes, CP's Mets and Knicks YouTube channel page. You can also subscribe to another New York Mets fan, which is Wardy NYM. And shouts to him and congratulations on his baby boy. And of course, you can also subscribe to Anthony Rivera's Subway to Shea podcast, and also you can also catch him on the Mets Evening Brew podcast alongside with Al and Eddie on a weekly basis. Subscribe to that channel. They go into depth on some players and analysis and all that great stuff right there. And Mets Up podcast by Mark and James. You can also subscribe there too. And also Jake Brown's new show, The Sick Podcast, Mets Magic. Be sure to subscribe over there as well. Shea Station by Jolly and Jerry. Make sure you subscribe over there as well. And of course, Till Mets Do Us Part podcast. Make sure you subscribe over there as well. And let's see what else we have here involving the Mets. Oh, all things Mets, man. And shouts to Randy for launching his first episode of his podcast, All Things Mets. It's going to be on Mondays. Make sure you subscribe to all the channels that I just mentioned involving the New York Mets. All right. And speaking of which, man, let me continue with my sports YouTube channel page right here, which is Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Make sure you grab that subscribe button for me. Leave a like and a comment on the sports topics, including the two breaking news involving Brooks Raley being out for the season and Luis Severino being involved in today's game, which is the Mets versus the Cubs, instead of pitching the opener of the Subway Series that's going down Tuesday. All right. And you can also be sure to share the podcast with you share the podcast. Be sure to share the videos, share the episodes, listen, stream, watch these episodes. Be sure to tell a friend to another friend, share the podcast along with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with, whatsoever. And I think that's gonna do it for me right here, man. I appreciate your patience for waiting for me. I had to work on myself mentally, physically, and spiritually on myself. That's why it took me so long to come back. Great stuff right there. So that's gonna do it, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Greg in here. Of course, aka New York Mets fan right here. And of course, remember the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. Don't let anybody stop you from following your goals and dreams and all that great stuff right there. And of course, be sure to be sure to um be sure to tune in next time where I actually um break down the whole thing with tune in next time. Tune in next time in the next episode where I got some other topics to cover. If you want to know, you have to stick around. You have to stick around and stay tuned. All right. And of course, be sure to also find your niche, find what makes you happy um on a creatively, mentally, physically, and spiritually that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. And you don't need validation from other people, man. Let me tell you something, man. You got to validate yourself, man. You know what I mean? You got to validate yourself because nobody's going to validate you. You got to keep it pushing, be consistent with your craft, your art, your podcasting content, and all the great stuff. Don't let anybody stop you or tell you what to do and what type of content you should create. Don't let anybody stop you or tell you otherwise. Let me see what we got here, man. Let me see what we got here. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on a second. Here's what we have here. Um, I got one question. Should I propose my girl at Citifield and streak on the field? And we will see. We hold on. We will see how Sevi got any eggs he would throw out to the Yankees. Listen, man. Listen. Um. Listen. It's not my decision. It's not my decision to make. It's not my decision to make. It's up to you. It's your decision to make. I can't do it for you. And as far as the Sevy situation you're talking about, I just mentioned that I just talked about this actually, as a matter of fact. Um Instead of him going to pitch against the Yankees on Tuesday, it's going to be David Peterson that's going to be the starter opener. You know what I'm saying? If you missed out on what I was talking about in involving the situation with Luis Severino starting today's game with the Chicago Cubs instead of because in in this particular recording I was saying that he wants to deal with a righty pitcher. You know what I'm saying? And Carlos Mendoza actually talked about this, you know what I'm saying? So that's just if you missed out, you can rewatch this episode. You can rewatch this episode and get a better understanding because I did the research before I got on the air. So there you go, right there. And like I said, man, like I said to the person that was asking if he should marry his girl at Citi Field. Listen, man, that's your decision to make. That's your decision to make. I can't make that decision for you. You just all I can say is just go with your gut. Follow your heart. You know what I'm saying? If you love that person so much, go for it. but that's your decision to make. You want to do it, go for it. Don't let nobody stop you. All right. All right. So let me get up out of here. I want to catch this game right now on ESPN right now. If you didn't know, there is a game going on with the Mets versus the Chicago Cubs on ESPN, which is on my flat screen TV right now. I'm about to watch it right now as we wrap up here. Of course, like I said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel pages that I just mentioned involving the Mets and the Fanatics. Also, you can also subscribe to Shade and Sons podcast YouTube channel page. You can also subscribe there as well. What else? That's it, man. I'm out of here. Peace and one love. Enjoy watching the Mets versus the Chicago Cubs game on ESPN. I'll be back with some new topics and all other great stuff whatsoever. I will be posting a question involving Luis Severino starting today's game instead of Tuesday's game in the Subway Series of the Mets versus the Yankees at Citifield. It's going to be David Peterson. I will break that down in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. Peace and one love. I'm up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, your Sunday, and of course, man, let's go Mets. Enjoy the rest of your day, and good night, everybody.